Hey, my name's Dale, and I'm the luckiest man alive. It all started when I met Ruthie. I saw her dancing in a club, and the second I saw her, I fell in love. She was so pretty and cute. I bought her a drink, and we got talking. She was funny and clever, the perfect woman. I used to be out with a different girl every night, but with Ruthie, it was special. I knew I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. We'd been dating for about a year when I asked her to marry me. I planned the most romantic proposal ever. I took her to our favorite restaurant, and I got the waiter to put the engagement ring in a glass of champagne. When he brought it out to her, I went down on one knee and said, "Ruthie, I love you so much. You're my world. Will you marry me?" I thought she'd be happy. When I planned this night, I imagined her bursting into tears and saying yes while everyone in the restaurant clapped. I couldn't believe it when Ruthie shook her head and said no. It was so embarrassing. I felt so stupid, kneeling on the floor while everyone stared at me. "Why not?" I asked, taking hold of Ruthie's hands. "What have I done wrong?" "It's not you," Ruthie said. "It's me. I'm the one who's done something wrong." "What do you mean?" My heart started racing as I imagined what she'd done. "I've been seeing someone else." "What?" That was the last thing I expected to hear. I guess it served me right. All those times I'd cheated on other girls, and now the woman I loved was cheating on me. "Who is it?" I asked. "I want to know his name." Ruthie blushed. "Her name is Cindy." "Seriously?" "Yeah." Ruthie looked away. "We've been seeing each other for a couple months now. I'm so sorry, Dale. I really love you, but I love her too. I couldn't choose between you." "I guess I'll make that choice for you then." I got up and stormed out of the restaurant. Over the next few days, Ruthie tried calling me, but I didn't answer. I was too mad. How could she cheat on me? But as I calmed down, I couldn't stop thinking about my girlfriend with another woman. Let's be honest, two women together is really hot. Maybe it wasn't really cheating. I mean, it wasn't like she was sleeping with another man. I rang Ruthie. "Hey," I said, "I've really missed you." "I've really missed you too," she said. "I'm so sorry I hurt you." "It's okay," I said. "Do you want to get together and talk?" "That would be great." Ruthie came to my apartment, and as soon as I saw her, I knew I couldn't let her go. This was the woman I was meant to be with for the rest of my life. We didn't actually do much talking, and that night we had the best lovemaking ever. Afterwards, as we lay in each other's arms, I said to her, "I've got a confession to make. I was thinking about Cindy being here with us." Ruthie bit her lip. So was I. In fact, I've been talking it over with Cindy. We'd really love it if you two met. What do you think? Would you like that? Well, duh. I'd never been so nervous as when I was getting ready to meet Cindy. What kind of woman did my girlfriend like? Was she as pretty as I imagined? We agreed to meet in a bar, and Ruthie and Cindy were already there when I walked in. Oh my God. Cindy was smoking hot. She had gorgeous, curly red hair and a body to die for. No wonder Ruthie liked her so much. Ruthie went to get me a drink, leaving me alone with Cindy. I thought it might be awkward talking to the girl who'd been dating my girlfriend, but it was as though we'd known each other all our lives. I barely even noticed when Ruthie came back. I really felt like Cindy and I had a connection, you know? I just wanted to know everything about her. Cindy seemed to feel the same way too. We were supposed to go out for food, but instead, I asked if the two of them wanted to come back to my place and order takeout. They said yes, but the moment we got back to mine, Cindy started kissing me. I looked over at Ruthie to see if she minded, but she just smiled at me. Making love to Cindy while Ruthie watched was a real turn-on. Later, Ruthie joined in. I'd always dreamed of being with two women at once, but the reality was even better. Cindy, Ruthie, and I started seeing each other. We did everything together as a threesome, went to bars, went to the movies, and, of course, slept together. We took turns sleeping in the middle of the bed. You got the most hugs that way, but it could get really hot and sweaty. It seemed perfectly normal to be dating two girls at the same time. After a while, I forgot that people might think it was weird. But then there was one time when we were out together and Cindy and Ruthie were holding hands. Some asshole yelled at them that they were disgusting. "Don't call my girlfriends disgusting, you jerk," I yelled back. Big mistake. The guy came over to us. He was really big, like he worked out in the gym every day. "What did you just call me?" "You heard, jerk." I know. I should have kept my mouth shut. He was twice my size, and I never was much of a fighter. I just didn't like the thought of anyone insulting my girlfriends. The guy punched me, and I saw stars. I did my best to defend myself, but I didn't stand a chance against him. He knocked me to the floor and started kicking me. Cindy and Ruthie were screaming. They tried to pull him away from me, but he was too strong. When he was done, I could barely move. Cindy and Ruthie helped me up, but I couldn't walk on my own. They took me to the hospital. I had a couple of cracked ribs and my nose was broken. My girlfriends tried to cheer me up. "Guys with a broken nose are really pretty," Ruthie said. "And it was so brave of you to stand up for us," said Cindy. It took a long time for me to heal, and my girlfriends really looked after me. They were so sweet, cooking me meals and lying in bed with me while we watched movies. The more time I spent with my two girlfriends, the more I realized how in love I was with both of them. So, when I got better, I booked at a table at the restaurant where I first proposed to Ruthie. This time, I took 2 engagement rings. When the waiter brought round the champagne with the rings, I knelt down and took Ruthie and Cindy's hands. "I love you both so much," I said. When I asked Ruthie to marry me, she said she couldn't choose between the 2 people she was in love with, and I feel the same. I want to spend the rest of my life with both of you. Will you marry me? Cindy and Ruthie looked at each other. "Yes," they both said. When I proposed to my fiancés, I didn't realize how hard things were going to get. My parents didn't know I had 2 girlfriends. They were really religious, so I figured they'd disapprove. But I thought they'd be okay about my relationships when they met Cindy and Ruthie and saw how great they were. I arranged for us to go to my parents' place for dinner. At first, everything went well. Ruthie helped Mom in the kitchen, while Cindy charmed my dad. Everyone seemed to be getting on, so I figured it would be okay to tell them our plans. But when I told them I was marrying 2 women, they went nuts. Mom told me I was going to hell if I didn't end my relationships, and Dad said that if I went ahead with the wedding, I was no son of his. "If you don't approve of my marriage, you won't be able to see your grandchildren," I told them. "You can't have children with more than 1 woman," Mom screamed. "It's a sin." "That's it," I said. "We're leaving. If you don't want me to be happy, that's fine. I've got Cindy and Ruthie. They're everything I need." I grabbed my girlfriend's hands and we stormed out. "Dale, come back!" Mom ran after us, sobbing, but I ignored her. "You'll regret this, son," my dad warned. After what happened with my parents, we decided to keep our wedding plans secret. We didn't want anyone else to threaten us. You see, it's illegal to be married to more than 1 woman, so it was hard for us to decide what to do for the best. Cindy, Ruthie, and I talked about it a lot. We discussed whether I should marry just one of my girlfriends and do some kind of blessing with the other, but none of us wanted that. We all wanted to be married. We wanted to make our love official and commit to be together for the rest of our lives. How could I choose which one to be my wife? I loved them both. In the end, we decided we should all get married. We just wouldn't tell anyone. First, I married Ruthie in a quiet courthouse ceremony. We got a couple of strangers to be our witnesses. Ruthie looked stunning. She wore a cute, tight-fitting red dress to represent our unconventional marriage, while Cindy was our bridesmaid. Then, Cindy and I got married a few days later. We went to a courthouse in a different state. We figured no one would find out that way. For a while, we were really happy. Cindy and Ruthie even talked about getting married themselves so we could all be married to each other. We never argued. We had really good communication. So whenever one of us had a problem, we talked about it and figured things out as a team. We had the kind of marriage you read about in romance books. But one day, there was a knock at the door. When I opened it, I was shocked to find the cops waiting for me. "Dale Horton?" one of them asked. When I nodded, he said, "You're under arrest for bigamy." "What? How did you know?" I soon found out it was my parents had reported me to the authorities. I couldn't believe it when I saw them in court. "I told you you'd regret this," my dad yelled at me as I came in. Ruthie and Cindy were by my side throughout my trial. My lawyer warned me that Ruthie might get charged as well because she stayed with me when I married Cindy. Luckily, the DA decided not to prosecute either of my wives, but I wasn't so lucky. I was sentenced to a year in prison and had to pay a large fine. Cindy and Ruthie came to see me as often as they could while I was in jail. My mom tried to visit once, but I refused to see her. I've got nothing to say to her. As far as I'm concerned, I'm an orphan. I had to get my marriage to Cindy annulled, but me and Ruthie are still married. I got released from prison for good behavior, and we moved out of state. What do you think of my story? Please like, comment, and share this video for more great stories.